My name is James Carter, and the day my company celebrated my 40 years of service was also the day I realized my only son had stopped seeing me as his father. The ballroom lights dimmed as the MC stepped toward the podium, smiling at hundreds of employees, executives, and guests gathered inside the downtown Columbus Convention Center. "Ladies and gentlemen," she announced, "today we honor a man whose integrity has shaped this company for 4 decades. The screens behind her filled with photographs from another lifetime. Me in 1986 wearing an oversized hard hat, standing beside co-workers now gone from this world. Company picnics, charity fundraisers, retirement parties where I had stood applauding everyone else. Today, it was finally my turn. The applause echoed through the ballroom. I smiled politely, but my eyes kept drifting toward the front row. One chair remained empty, a small white card reserved for Ryan Carter, my son. The camera followed my gaze. The audience followed the camera, and even before anyone said a word, everyone understood. The seat was supposed to belong to my family, instead it belonged to silence. The MC noticed, walked closer. "Mr. Carter, would you like us to wait a few more minutes?" I shook my head. "No. Would you like someone else to sit beside you?" I looked across the ballroom. Near the back stood a nervous young man in a navy suit that wasn't expensive but had been carefully pressed. "Tyler," I said. His eyes widened. "My late best friend's son. Would you come sit with me?" Tyler looked almost frightened. "Me?" I nodded. "Your father would have been sitting there if he were still alive." The room became quiet. Tyler slowly walked down the aisle and sat beside me. "Thanks for coming," I said. "I wouldn't have missed this." His voice barely escaped. 5 minutes later, the CEO returned to the microphone, smiled at me, then looked toward Tyler. "There is one final surprise." I frowned. I hadn't been told about any surprise. Years ago, James Carter quietly turned down several executive bonuses and asked instead that the company create a legacy fund honoring loyalty, sacrifice, and service to others. The CEO said, "Today that fund officially begins," and the first recipient was personally selected by James. Tyler Webb will receive an $800,000 legacy gift. The ballroom exploded. People stood, cheered, cried. Tyler froze. "I think there's been a mistake." "There hasn't." The CEO laughed softly. I simply squeezed his shoulder. "You earned this." 3 hours later, I sat alone in my pickup outside my small ranch house. My phone buzzed again and again. When I finally looked, 112 missed calls, most from Ryan, the rest his wife Ashley, unknown numbers, old relatives, even reporters. I placed the phone face down on the passenger seat, because the story everyone had just witnessed on television had actually begun years earlier. Until 6 years ago, I never imagined my family would drift apart. My wife Linda and I had built a simple life, honest work, cookouts, camping trips every summer, Friday night pizza, church Sunday mornings. Ryan grew up believing we weren't wealthy. The truth was his mother and I simply believed money should buy security, not attention. Linda passed away after a short battle with pancreatic cancer. Ryan was 31 then, already married, already building his own life. For me, it created silence. For Ryan, it created distance. I never expected weekly visits. I only hoped we'd still be father and son. Instead, our conversation slowly became appointments. "Dad, can I call you later? We're busy this weekend, maybe next month." Whenever Ryan did visit, Ashley always seemed eager to leave, not openly rude. She simply acted like spending time with me was another obligation squeezed between vacations and brunches. Somewhere along the way, my son stopped making decisions for himself. If Ashley wanted something, that became Ryan's opinion too. He stopped fishing with me, stopped watching football, stopped asking for my advice. Even birthdays became text messages. Still, I never complained. Parents don't keep score. About 3 months before my retirement ceremony, our company announced it wanted to celebrate employees with 40 years of continuous service. Only 2 people qualified. One had retired overseas. That left me. Honestly, I would have been perfectly happy with a handshake and a sheet cake. But the CEO insisted, "You've spent 40 years taking care of this company. Now let us take care of you." A week later, I drove to Ryan's house. He answered, wearing golf clothes. Ashley loading suitcases into their SUV. Weekend in Tennessee, I asked. He opened the invitation I handed him, eyes widening. They're televising this. That's pretty cool, Dad. I'd really like you there. Of course I'll be there. He hugged me. I wouldn't miss it. I believed every word. 24 hours before the ceremony, my phone rang. Ryan's name appeared, and one simple conversation would change everything. Hey, Dad. His voice sounded cheerful, too cheerful. Ashley found this incredible last-minute deal. This luxury resort in Scottsdale, 5-star place. We leave tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning. The morning of my ceremony. I leaned against my kitchen counter, looking out the window. The maple tree Linda and I had planted 25 years earlier swayed in the breeze. I thought your ceremony started in the afternoon, Ryan said quickly. But we'd already booked the flights. You haven't booked them yet, I replied quietly. A long pause. No. So you could still come. Another silence, then Ashley's voice in the background. Babe, tell him they'll understand. Dad, we've both been working so hard. Ashley really needs this vacation. I smiled, though no one could see it. I understand. We'll celebrate next week. I'll take you out somewhere nice. That sounds fine. You aren't upset? No, really. I'm 70 years old, Ryan. He laughed nervously. I guess you've learned not to sweat the small stuff. If only he knew. I didn't call him back, didn't send a guilt-filled text. Instead, I opened my contacts and called Tyler Webb. Mr. Carter, I hope I'm not interrupting dinner. I have a favor to ask. Anything, no hesitation. My company's holding a ceremony tomorrow. My son won't be coming. I'm sorry. I'd like someone sitting beside me. You want me there? I do. I'd be honored. No questions, no excuses, just, I'd be honored. I smiled for the first time that evening. Your father would have been proud of you. His voice cracked. I hope so. I first met Tyler almost 30 years earlier, a skinny little boy racing bicycles down our sidewalk while his father, Frank Webb, grilled hamburgers in the backyard. Frank wasn't just my coworker. He was my brother in every way except blood. We started at Franklin Industrial Systems 6 months apart. Same factory floor, same overtime. Bought our first homes within a year of each other. Our wives became best friends. Our sons grew up playing catch together. Then came the explosion, a maintenance shutdown, a faulty pressure valve, wrong place, wrong moment. Metal screamed, steam filled the room, something heavy crashed beside me. I remember falling, thinking this is it. But Frank didn't run toward the exit. He ran toward me, dragged me across the concrete floor while alarms echoed. Doctors later told me another 30 seconds would have killed me. Whenever someone called him a hero, he'd shrug. You'd have done the same. Years later, cancer did what the explosion couldn't. The night before he died, he asked everyone else to leave the room, reached for my hand, look after my boy. You won't have to ask twice. I knew that, he said and smiled. Those were the last words he ever spoke. Tyler was 19 then, too proud to ask anyone for help. Worked evenings stocking shelves, delivered pizzas weekends. Every time I offered money, he refused. I'll figure it out. So I found different ways, connected him with a mechanic when his truck died, helped him find housing when he transferred to Ohio State's engineering program, sat in the audience when he graduated. He became a public school robotics teacher. Some thought he was wasting his education. I disagreed. Every Christmas a handwritten card, every birthday a call. Whenever my gutters needed cleaning, Tyler somehow found out before I asked. Figured you could use another set of hands. The next morning I arrived at the convention center early, Tyler already standing outside in his one navy suit. You clean up pretty well, I teased. He handed me a small gift bag, a leather-bound journal, first page read. Some men earn promotions, others earn respect. You taught me the difference. Your father would be proud, I finally said. I've spent 20 years hoping you'd say that. Before we walked inside, my phone buzzed. Ryan had posted a photo, poolside, sunglasses, cocktails, caption, finally taking the vacation we deserve. Life is too short. I quietly locked my phone. Ready? I asked Tyler. As ready as I'll ever be. Inside, 400 people had gathered. Executives, factory workers, retirees, local reporters, 2 television cameras. Tyler and I sat together in the front row. "Relax," I told him. "I'm trying. You look like you're taking a final exam." He laughed. "I've spoken in front of classrooms full of teenagers. Somehow this is scarier. Teenagers are tougher, trust me." That finally made him smile. At exactly 2, the lights dimmed. A video played across 3 screens. Me at 27, Linda and I at the company Christmas party in 91 wearing a clearance red dress because we were saving for Ryan's college fund. Ryan at 7, wearing an oversized hard hat during family day, insisting he wanted to work with Dad someday. My chest tightened. The MC invited our CEO, Richard Sutton, to the podium, a man who'd started sweeping warehouse floors. Someone I'd always respected because neither of us forgot where we started. "I've spent 31 years working beside James," he said. "In all those years, I've never once questioned whether he'd do the right thing. Sometimes the right thing cost him promotions. He turned down opportunities that would have moved his family across the country. He also refused performance bonuses on multiple occasions. I hadn't expected him to mention that. I hadn't expected any of it. Employees shared stories I'd genuinely forgotten. Staying overnight during a blizzard so younger employees could safely get home. Secretly covering a receptionist's husband's medical equipment. When you help someone, you usually don't keep records, you simply move on." Richard invited me onto the stage, handed me the Lifetime Legacy Award, a heavy crystal sculpture. 40 years. You earned every day of it. Then the MC returned. "James, we noticed someone sitting beside you today." The screen displayed Tyler. His eyes went wide. "Would you tell us about him?" I stepped closer to the microphone. "His name is Tyler Webb, my best friend. Frank Webb worked beside me for almost 30 years. He saved my life during an explosion at our old plant." The ballroom went silent. When cancer took him, Tyler was only 19. His father asked me for one thing before he died. My voice caught. He asked me to look after his son. I never replaced his father. I couldn't, but I've watched him become the kind of man every father hopes to raise. If anyone deserved to sit in my son's seat today, I looked at him. It was Tyler. The room stood. Another standing ovation. Longer. Stronger. Just when I believed the ceremony had ended, Richard stepped back to the microphone, actually one final surprise. About 12 years ago, James approached the board with an unusual request. Instead of accepting future executive retention bonuses, he asked us to invest those funds into something that would outlive him. He called it the Legacy Gratitude Fund. His exact words. Richard read from a letter I'd completely forgotten writing. "Money disappears. Character doesn't. Help one good person and they'll spend a lifetime helping others." For years, this fund quietly grew. Today, it has reached $800,000. Gasps filled the room. Even I hadn't known the final amount. The agreement gave James one privilege. He alone would choose the first recipient, Tyler Webb. "Please join us on stage." Tyler stood slowly, knees visibly shaking. "On behalf of Franklin Industrial Systems, we are honored to present you with the first Legacy Gratitude Award, $800,000. "I can't accept this." "You already have." Richard smiled. Tyler looked at me, eyes filled with tears. "Why?" "Because your father once saved my life," I said, "and because you've spent the last 20 years honoring his." I had no idea that somewhere in Arizona, Ryan and Ashley had just seen every second of it live. I didn't leave right away. Dozens surrounded us, photos, hugs, former supervisors who once terrified me as a young mechanic just wanted to shake my hand. Tyler kept whispering, "I still can't believe this." "Listen to me," I told him. "That money isn't a reward for one afternoon. It's recognition for the man you've spent 20 years becoming. I don't know how to thank you. You already have. You showed up." Richard walked over with coffee. "You okay?" "I think so. You've been trying very hard not to think about your son. Am I that obvious? Only to old friends. Do you want media to remove any mention of Ryan?" "No," I answered. "I don't want anyone attacking him, but I also don't want us hiding the truth. You're a better father than most men would have been. Good fathers don't always raise good sons. Sometimes they simply keep loving them anyway." That evening my phone rang again. "Ryan, why didn't you tell me?" Tell you what. The money, 800,000. You knew there would be a gift, I said. You never told me. You never asked. Silence then. Dad? Ashley and I are driving to the airport. No need. Dad? This isn't about the vacation. What is it about? He couldn't answer. Finally. I should have been there. I closed my eyes. Yes, you made a mistake. Are you angry? No, I'm disappointed. There's a difference. Anger fades, disappointment settles deeper. Ashley grabbed the phone. James, I think we've all gotten a little carried away. What do you mean? People online are making Ryan look like a terrible son. I haven't spoken to anyone online. That empty chair embarrassed us. No, I said. It didn't embarrass you. You embarrassed yourselves. Silence then. So that's it? You replaced your own son. No, Ryan replaced himself. Ryan spoke quietly. Dad, I'm coming over tonight. I'll be here. I love you. The words surprised me. He hadn't said them in months. I love you too. That night, headlights turned into my driveway. Ryan wasn't alone. Ashley stepped out carrying not regret but anger. James, we need to talk. You'd better come in. Ashley looked around my living room like she'd never really seen it. Linda's quilt on the couch, family photographs on the wall. Ryan stared at a photo of himself at 6, at 16, at his college graduation, his mother standing between us. I haven't been here in a while, he said. No, you haven't. Ashley broke the silence. $800,000. You could have at least mentioned something. I didn't know the amount, I said. You knew there was money. I knew there would be a gift, and you chose someone else's son. I chose someone who showed up. Ryan closed his eyes. Dad. Don't just sit there, Ashley snapped. He should have told us. He embarrassed us in front of the entire country. No, Ryan shook his head slowly. We embarrassed ourselves. Ashley stared. So you're taking his side. I'm taking the truth. Ryan finally looked at me. I owe you an apology. You do. I'm sorry. I believe you. I paused. I just don't know what you're sorry about. Are you sorry because you hurt me or because everyone saw it happen? He didn't answer. Not because he was stubborn, because he honestly didn't know. I walked to the spare room and returned carrying 3 old storage boxes. Ryan recognized them immediately. I haven't seen those since Mom. Opened them. Inside were folders, receipts, tuition statements from Ohio State marked paid in full, canceled checks, semester after semester, mortgage documents, a down payment I'd co-signed and quietly removed my name from 2 years later, wedding invoices, the photographer, the florist. Dad, you paid for this. I helped. I never knew. You weren't supposed to. Parents don't raise children to collect thank you notes. The second box held photographs. Linda sewing patches onto his Little League uniform after a 10-hour nursing shift. Me replacing our own roof because a contractor would have meant postponing his college fund. Camping trips instead of vacations. Birthday cakes baked at home. A photo of Linda beside our old station wagon, almost 200,000 miles. You kept saying you liked it. I hated it. Then why didn't you buy another one? Because the transmission replacement costs less than your freshman textbooks. His shoulders began shaking. The third box held letters. Every birthday card Linda had ever written him. Every note tucked into his lunchbox. No matter how old you become, always remember that time is the most valuable gift you can give someone you love. His tears finally came. Real ones. I've become the man Mom warned me not to be. A knock interrupted the moment. Tyler stood there holding a small cardboard box. I'm sorry, I didn't know you had company. It's all right, Ryan said. Please stay. Tyler placed the box on the counter. I brought dinner. Figured after today, nobody remembered to eat. Ryan watched him move around my kitchen easily, knew where the plates were, which cabinet held the glasses, knew the coffee maker stuck unless you pushed the switch twice. How often do you come by? Ryan asked. Every couple of weeks, sometimes more, I answered for him. You've been taking care of my dad. He took care of me first, Tyler said quietly. Ashley stood abruptly. This is unbelievable. So now Ryan's some terrible son? No one answered. I'm not sitting here listening to this guilt trip. Ryan looked at her. You should go. What? You heard me. I need to stay. For him. For me. She stared for several long seconds, then walked out. The door slammed. After she left, the house felt strangely peaceful. We sat down to Tyler's homemade soup, fresh bread, apple pie like Linda used to bake. I honestly don't remember the last time we had dinner together, Ryan said. Thanksgiving 3 years ago. I thought it had only been a year. Time moves faster than we realize. The following week, Ryan called every morning, not to ask for anything, just, "How are you today, Dad?" One afternoon he brought 2 fishing rods, "Found these in my garage if you're free Saturday." I've been free for years. I know. We drove to the same little lake where I taught him to fish at 8, the dock still leaning slightly, everything else familiar. I used to think success meant the biggest house, the newest car, he said. I spent so much time chasing things I forgot to make time for people. My whole life you've showed up and I stopped showing up for you. Forgiveness isn't difficult, I told him. Trust is. He accepted that without arguing. Tyler used half the award to establish scholarships for students in robotics and skilled trades. I wouldn't be standing here if someone hadn't believed in me long before I believed in myself, he told reporters. Never once mentioning my name unless someone asked. Ashley never came back. She and Ryan separated quietly a few weeks later. No dramatic battle, just 2 people realizing they wanted different lives. I don't blame Ashley, Ryan admitted one evening. I kept choosing convenience. I confused your patience with permission. Months later, Franklin Industrial Systems invited me back for the dedication of the Legacy Gratitude Mentorship Program, pairing experienced employees with young people entering skilled trades. This time the front row seat beside mine wasn't empty. Ryan was already sitting there. I wanted to make sure I got here early, not for anything. I wasn't going to miss this one. Tyler sat on my other side, one connected by blood, the other by a promise. Family isn't weakened by gratitude, it's strengthened by it. Afterward, walking to the parking lot, Ryan stopped beside my truck. Thank you. For what? For loving me. Even when I made it hard. Being your father was never the hard part, I said. What was hard was waiting for you to find your way home. He wrapped his arms around me. The kind of hug that says everything words cannot. For the first time in years, I felt my family becoming whole again. Not because money had changed anyone. Money hadn't repaired a single relationship. Choices had, time had, humility had, and love, the quiet, stubborn kind that refuses to disappear, had finally been met with gratitude.